Hello guys, it's Alex here, and today we're gonna talk about war defense. So at number 10 we have an X-Men team. As you see, we have some other options like Jean Grey, Phoenix, a Storm, Nightcrawler, Rogue, some situations Force or Gambit, and you can make two X-Men teams. If you don't have other teams or you want to use them on offense that I'm gonna show higher. But X-Men now have a rule that they gain plus 30% stats. You might have a X-Men build, Immortal X-Men for example, for raids, with some characters at least. They are decent. They at least will pull something a little bit bigger that might cost them from a different team. Number 9 we have Orchis. To be honest, I struggled to make this list the last like 3-4 spots because war defense teams, generally speaking, you just throw anything that you have built for other game modes like raids, like Cosmic Crucible, like scraps that you have from all the raid teams, or you try to do some plug and play. There are like 5-6 war defense teams that we are gonna get to. I prefer Orchis on offense, they suck on defense, there are many counters for them, but they're big enough, they will pull something. Maybe you can hybridize them a little bit. I don't think it's really worth it. You can throw Ares and stops Illuminati at least from working, but then still Nightstalkers will demolish them. You can throw like a Doom and hope that he gets pushed and doesn't die, but usually he dies, especially by a Blade ultimate. And number 8 we have Nightstalkers. Nightstalkers, I also use them on offense. I just want to show like some good options, not just talk about 6 teams. Let's make a top 10. You can hybridize them a little bit and you can gain some defensive victories. Maybe some people have used something to beat them. Used to beat them with Weapon X, but now they're very big and Weapon X cannot put out this type of damage anymore. The good thing here, you can remove Moon Knight, you still have a Pretoning tank, they have speed stats, they do a lot of damage, so maybe they can take a defensive victory from time to time. Number 7 we have Starjammers. You can use a full team, they gain a better stat boost. I kinda prefer to have them like this. They trip a little bit people up, it gains defensive victories for me, usually around 1 defensive victory per war, which is not bad at all. Many people try to use the mirror match, and the Salor gives my team speed and damage, at least like the 2 Guardians, and then you have Groot, because Rocket will go fast, and they special and put taunt on Groot, then this can be annoying. This team can be very annoying if Groot dies and revives and cleanses people before you kill the other Starjammers. So, and if he gets a lot of good revives, maybe he can mess some things up, especially if you try to go with a cheap counter. You now can have all of them or very close to diamonds to get the 7 free stars even free to play, especially if you court them a little bit. When they were released, they have the stats, they gain more stats by being on defense and a full team. There's no use for them on offense. Sometimes they might get a defensive victory, they're not great, but now it's a no-brainer to have them on defense, I think. Number 6 we have Liberty. I don't know if this is a perfect shot for them, I haven't tested too much against them. Most people use them on offense, I think it's smarter to use them on offense, but if I want to be fair and to make a video, what are the best war defensive teams that can gain you more defensive victories, Liberty are one of them. I faced them recently in a war. I lost the mirror match. I lost some other team that I tried to do that wasn't cheap. I think it was like Mephisto and Null and Highman or something like this. So I know they're very good, especially in a room like adjacent to security, where they will have defense up the opponent, defense down the opponents. Honestly, they're very annoying. I don't know why people don't use them on defense. Probably there will be something like a cheaper counter. I also used Mighty Avengers and they lost because I wanted to test that like if a cheaper team will work on offense against them, it doesn't. So the mirror didn't work, Might Avengers didn't work. They're strong. It's definitely like if you are in a phase where you don't have too much time to spend on offense and to check a lot what to do offensively on war, and you just want to throw many teams on defense because you are very busy but still want to help your alliance in war, maybe it's good to consider having, and you are in an important room that you're protecting your team and you don't want it to be cleared. Liberty on defense can be a good argument, can get many defense victories, can be annoying. If you don't spend a lot of time on offense where you can use them smart in a good value-worthy counter, that you spend the liberty but you take out something more expensive, more important, then on defense I think they will be great. They might even get higher on the list. Number 5, I have... This is something I had on defense, getting defensive victories. Null with Hive Mind kind of sucks on defense. They're not really great. They're not getting... You can beat them easily with something like Maximum Money. That Maximum Money aren't really that great in War Offense anymore. There are many teams that are a lot better if you saw the War Offense video. But Mephisto protects them. It's a lot harder to take them out. The mirror match doesn't work, especially if you are adjacent to security, or it's very risky. So Null can be a good offensive option against easy Mephisto teams, but if you are playing a little bit of higher level in war, usually people aren't just putting out Mephisto with Orchis or with Nightstalkers or with a Alpha Flight or whatever. They're putting Mephisto with a Absolute A-Force or with Xavier or with Null and Annihilators. So Null can take out easy Mephisto teams. If you're not using them offensively in this capacity, like to take out, to help a lot offensively, or there's some situations where you want to use Null with Liberty to take out a specific I think I remember which theme. I think it was Absolute A-Force, like Miss Marvel Classic and Kahori, Mephisto, Odin and Null, or Super Scroll and Null. It's Super Scroll and Null. So this team was a thing a couple of months ago, and it's very annoying to beat, but you can one-shot it with Liberty and Null and Ultimus. Usually I don't find this team very often, so Null many times gets unused. If you're in this situation, I think it's smart, and you don't have Xavier yet, because you want Null with Xavier to protect him from an opponent Mephisto that is on offense. This is a very nice war defense. They gain a lot of speed bar, yes, you lose a revive from Red Goblin, but Red Goblin still cleanses, does a lot of damage. You have Void Knight going relatively fast and putting an ability block and pulling them together. This can be a very strong team. They can do a lot of damage. Null gets a speed stat, and here, where is Null? It says gain plus 5%, plus 0% speed. I don't remember how much the speed is, but he gains speed per symbiote ally, so he gains speed stat. His symbiote allies will gain speed stat. He will assist because you have them. So, and you have Mephisto going very fast. So this can be a very strong team that is not very easy to beat, or is tricky to beat. They look a little bit small, but Mephisto and Null here do a lot. Number 4, you have Annihilators. Annihilators are kind of trash, are not very good as a 5-piece, but you can create great hybrids of them, that's why they're this high. For example, this team is very hard to beat. Liberty doesn't beat it. Mighty Avengers doesn't beat it. It's a very tricky team because you have a... If you go in with Liberty, you want to terminate rewind Gore because Gore is gonna go and he has a higher speed stat than Odin and will get an assist from Odin, and then Odin will get his battlefield effect off. And you have a cleanse with the assist and so makes a damage, and he can clear battlefield effects from the opponents in some niche situations. You want to terminate rewind him. If there is like a Mephisto, but it's not on your team, so if you terminate rewind him with a Falcon Joaquin special, then you have a situation where Doom, if you have them on a proper level build, you at least need like 1 of 5 and some red charge on him, especially if there's a big Falcon Joaquin like the G20. Doom then goes under 50% but doesn't die, so he gains speed bar because the way this plays out, it's very annoying with Liberty, but okay, that they stop speed bar before they go, and then they stop speed bar when the opponents have slow. So you hit them with Falcon Joaquin special. Peggy might ping Doom but doesn't kill him, and the ping drops him under 50%. He doesn't die. He gets a speed bar, and then the passive props that, okay, he has slow because he does the damage, he gets speed bar, then he gets slow, and then he cannot get any more speed bar. But he has gotten speed bar, and you lost there because he will give speed bar to Odin. And even if the team isn't properly built, and he gives like 3 turns to Thanos Endgame, let's say, or even Gore, it's still deadly. You cannot survive this. Odin will assist them a lot, so it's very tricky, and Mighty Avengers doesn't work. So this is a very strong team, and you can have other teams with Annihilators. I faced like Annihilators, Mephisto Null, I think, and I lost in a recent war. So Annihilators, especially the 3-piece like Gore, Thanos, Endgame, and a Gladiator, can make some great hybrids that can get many defensive victories. Maybe at a very early war when you don't have many characters like Odin, maybe you just want to use the 5-piece because again plus 30% extra stats, I think, which can be helpful in the very early wars. Also, Gore is a very nice character to protect Odin, or to protect Xavier. We'll get to that. At number 3 we have Astral gain a stat buff now being on defense, but as they are, no, they're not number 3, they cannot trust. But if you replace, for example, Moondragon that you can even put with Infinity Watch if you happen to have them built, they're not great, but some people might underestimate them or get overpowered, but using a team that they don't have as built as Moondragon, especially, that has crazy damage. So one extra use of them there, but you either use them with a Cosmic Ghost Rider. Let's find him here, because probably. So I have him on defensive. One moment. So either this can be tricky. Don't remember if this is exactly the best placement. Maybe you want to have her adjacent to the 2 people that you usually hit more and have Saints at the end so he can revive someone. This basically stops counters like Apocalypse, Cabal, and Kang, and this can stop some easy like Undying counters, so this can be tricky. Sage Vigilante beats it, but it's still, if you have it on defense, you will get you some defensive victories unless you're playing on a very high war level that many people are familiar with that. And they need to not have used Vigilante because they might use them on a different team. Or you can throw them with America Chavez. America Chavez can give Speed Baron Spawn to Shadow King and to Ancient One, and a counter like Cabal, Apocalypse, and Kang doesn't work anymore because your Shadow King will go first. So this is something that can gain you more defensive victories. And will probably stop Vigilante, I think. And on number 2 we have Absolute A-Force. Usually you won't find this team like this. Usually those two will get replaced. Sometimes people still keep Wasp, and there's many combinations because okay, the 5-piece Absolute A-Force has many counters and it's not too hard to take out. But if you take out Ironheart and they start putting people like Mephisto in there, or Odin, which I have on different defense, or Super Skull works very well with them, or Null in some situations. Some people are use Ares, but Ares doesn't really make this team a lot harder to beat usually. It can be very hard to take this team out. Or I use a cheaper team that's Dormammu and Super Scroll. And yes, I pass Super Scroll. This team can be one shot, but it gains defensive victories many times against Liberty, which is very nice. So Liberty is not like it's a very nice team to take out for. It's the best war offense team in some way of looking at it. So, like a straight war offense team, if you don't include Quasar, you have a team like this with characters from very old Dark Dimensions, and that probably like Dormammu doesn't really have a great use. A Supergirl cannot carry a team, and you have a team like this, and you get defensive victories against Liberty or against Mighty Avengers. They're very annoying, and they can be tricky to beat. They can be hybridized a lot, as I said, Mephisto, Null, even Xavier. Many people like this team with Xavier and Mephisto is very difficult. Number 1, I don't have Xavier, so I'm gonna show an Alliance Mates. This is a team that I love. I designed it in some. I tweaked some because I was practicing against it, and I think this is a very strong team. Many people are using something like this to take out a Xavier teams. Yes, Xavier is the best character in the game. He will get you defensive victories in war, and you want to design a team around him. So at number 1 we have Xavier. He's a team, and okay, some situations he might be we have Solid A-Force, then you have to throw other teams, and I'm gonna show a couple of other teams, but you just want to throw what you have left, and you have a lot of things on offense still. But a team like this struggles against this here because you need to have very big characters, especially like many stars on Songbird, I think. And even then, I don't think it's a very secure matchup. Or a team like Astral plus Quasar, like something like this, worked very well against simple Xavier teams. But so I would recommend something like this if you have Xavier, or with Mephisto and Absolute A-Force. As I faced this team, in one war I got lost many attacks against it. Somebody in my alliance beat it eventually with Liberty plus Quasar, but I watched the replay and it was very slim. Could have gone either way, definitely. And it's a very strong team. like Absolute Force plus Odin, no Odin, plus Mephisto and Xavier, or the one I'm showing now is very strong. I'm doing some thinking about this. Maybe Gladiator is not really my favorite in there, and you can throw someone else, but I like because if you have Gore here, you will gain an assist from Odin, and he will get his battlefield effect off, because and Null will give speed stat to Gore will give speed stat to Null, so you can afford to use either Emma X-Men or Quasar, that I have both here together, to stop their speed stat. But even then, Gore has more speed stat than Odin, so he's basically guaranteed to get an assist. Also, when someone uses an ultimate, it gives 15% speed bar to Xavier, and Xavier decays some debuffs from himself. So maybe you go in with a team like this one here, which is a very common team to face against Xavier, and you stun Xavier with Storm, because that's usually what you do. But then Gore gets to go. He will clear the charges from Storm, which is annoying. He will get an assist from Odin, and Odin will remove some debuffs from your team, and will then get his battlefield effect off if he gets to use his special. But also, using the ultimate will give speed bar to Xavier if there is no Quasar there. And even if there's a Quasar there, it will decay negative effects off of him, so he will lose the stun and he will not be stunned and be ready to go. So you're forced, if you're using this team, to use a Storm special on Gore instead, so then Xavier is not stunned, so he can take a turn and you need to kill him as soon as possible. Definitely excited to get Xavier and try to start test things out like this. I know the team, as I have here, if I recommended like to show my alliance mate, because I was practicing it a lot, teams to stop them, and maybe what if we throw Gore in there? Gore will get an assist and they will be very annoying. And Gore worked basically. Gore stopped Astral Quasar from working 100% and made this team I'm showing here a lot more difficult to work. If you don't have Null in there, then you can go in with Mephisto and Liberty in most matchups basically that I have in mind, and you can one-shot. So there's definitely testing to be made, and the new Fantastic Four definitely will get on war defense and will be a top 10 team. So lucky for you, don't need to build Orchis or something like this. And maybe we will have a team like this with Xavier. I don't really know how it will play out, because I have some interesting mechanic that I haven't tested in practice, so I cannot give you great recommendations around that. But definitely a team to consider is Fantastic Four MCU. Besides that, I'm just gonna mention them because they're a force built for raids anyway, so you will have them built, and they have some interesting mechanics, like he spawns with like death proofs and with taunt, and he will have safeguard on ward defense plus 100% max health, so he will have a lot of health. He's a great pre-taunt, and he keeps applying taunt to himself, so even if you go in there with someone that like Apocalypse or Ares that removes the safeguard on spawn, and you hit like with someone like a, let's say, a Songbird that flips the stuff and everything, if he's not too big and he has more than 75% health left, that he will have plus 100% health from what he has now, so on war defense, and he will be very beefy. Then he's just gonna gain taunt back again. He gives a offense up on and plus 50% more to Sasquatch in some situations where you want to use them like this. So he gives them offense up on spawn, and can go relatively fast if you have like a and flip immunity apply stun if you have a Northstar with them. So there's a little bit of hybridization that you can do with them, but they're squeezier now, and they have like a dodge on spawn, so they're a little bit annoying. Where do they get the dodge? From him. Remember. But or maybe even from he puts 2 evades on spawn. He here on a war defense basically he stops where is it? He gives speed stat to his team, which can be nice, but he stops charges. So if he doesn't have exhaust, enemies cannot gain charges. There are some teams where this can be annoying. For example, Black Knight can be very annoying too. There's too many counters for them. I'll just mention them as an extra solution because you are forced to build them for a raid anyway. You can do some hybrid. From time to time, I see Sasquatch in a team or like some hybrid of those 3 here: Sasquatch, Northstar, Guardian, or 2 of them with some characters that make a difficult team to beat. So I mentioned them, but I'm more excited about like Xavier and Fantastic Four MCU.